Hello everyone, Dr. Shado here with those answers that I promised I would give. And I got a good amount of questions. I'm really happy about that. So, that's the back of my old script, and here's all the questions on 3 pages. Yay! Alright, so let's hop right into this. Nerd Badass 123 asks, Dude, how are you out of money? You are obviously intelligent and have a lot of great ideas. You are hilarious and are more than qualified for that guy with the glasses. You need more people to see your great videos. Thanks, but I got the general rejection letter from that guy with the glasses, so I'm not entirely certain whether or not they actually watched what I sent them. They say in their thing that they watch all of their submissions even long after they said that they're no longer taking submissions, and my submission went after they already said they were no longer taking submissions, so it's not like I had much of a chance to start, and not necessarily out of money, but I'm certainly earning less money than I'm making. I mean, spending more money than I'm earning, so I'm in the red as far as budget goes. So, yeah. There are things that I want to pursue, things that I want to get that I technically can afford, but also realize that if I do go out and get these things, like that Surface Pro that I can afford, I just am going to run out of money so much faster after doing so. Okay. Moving on. Iron Thrasher asks, what is your favorite genre of music? Heavy metal. If my theory is correct and you're into metal, what's your favorite subgenre? Well, for that, I would have to say alternative rock. That's what I grew up with. I grew up listening to They Might Be Giants, and still several of my favorite songs are They Might Be Giants, and whenever I'm just kind of walking along for miles on end for no apparent reason, and I'm having my personal jukebox play in my head, I will just spontaneously start singing. More often than not, it's going to be They Might Be Giants. And, yeah, so favorite genre, metal, subgenre, alternative rock. What are some of your favorite bands? Of course, They Might Be Giants and Lordi are the obvious go-to for that. And on top of that, I also like folk metal with Korpiklani. I didn't pronounce that right. You're supposed to roll the R. Korpiklani. There we go. And unfortunately, I haven't really been on the music scene enough to really be able to fully identify this, that, and the other. There's songs I like from certain bands here and there, and I wish I had more time to actually fully research and listen to everything. And now I got, I think that's Darlin screaming for sex in the background.
Darlin or Cozy?
She stopped now, so... Well, now she's starting again. Got some interesting cats living here.
Please, who's stopping?
So, yeah, what the hell was I talking about before the cat interrupted things? Favorite bands. Korpiklani, this one's I have it right on the tip of my tongue, but not coming. Not coming. Kind of annoying. But I'm not as into the music scene as I wish I was. Hey, Tara. Yeah, hide in the window. Okay. James Howell asks, Hey Decker, will you be doing a Let's Play of the Aliens Colonial Marines? I do intend to. I have Aliens Colonial Marines finally, and I haven't had any time to sit down and play it, but I did... The time I did have the program running, I was tweaking it in the graphics options to see how well I could get it running alongside Fraps, so that I could record it, so that I could do a proper Let's Play of that, like I did to the AVP PC game. And similarly, I am currently doing a Let's Play of Monkey Go Happy, which I'm sure nobody was interested in seeing, but that's currently up on Blip. I am intending to bring it to YouTube as well. It's just YouTube, while I was starting the Monkey Go Happy Let's Play series, was already, taking away my ability to post videos longer than 15 minutes, so I had to not post most of them onto YouTube, and I could only fit the first one. But the rest is intended to come, and I hope I don't lose too many subscribers for all those monkeys. And are you going to do more movie reviews? I really do enjoy them. That cat. Just wait it out. I think. Well, they're just gonna keep doing it. So.
Yeah.
And yes, of course, I'll take this time to remind everyone that I do my reviews every weekend, except for a short period of time at the beginning of this year when I was working a lot on the Manic Expression one-year documentary, which is very late. I have every week had a new review, even when YouTube screws me over like they like to. I still have the reviews going up on Blip every week, every Wednesday. So, yeah. You can find all my latest reviews on Blip, and you can find them there even when YouTube is messing with me, and if YouTube shuts down my channel, I'll still have my Blip channel, unless something really bad happens, in which case, well, I haven't heard of anything that bad going that is going to shred through all aspects of my existence on the interwebs. So, yeah. I still have more reviews, and they're coming to Blip first as usual. And finally, I got back my ability to post videos longer than 15 minutes on YouTube, so hey, more reviews on YouTube, like Prometheus that just went up. Asridge3 asks, or says, I can't wait to see Summer of Seagal. You don't have to. It's on Blip, at least the first couple parts. It's not done yet, but the Summer of Steven Seagal is already started. It's just going to be a while before it's on YouTube. Hopefully not as long as the Summer of the Planet of the Apes with that 4-month delay. Of course, it's currently looking like around a 3-month delay thanks to the latest mess-up from YouTube. But still, I still get comments about how the Summer of the Planet of the Apes was uploaded in December. Metalhead Grace asks, what are some movies/series of movies that you would like to review most of all? I've been wanting to do the Saw series, because not only the few I did see I am kind of opinionated about, but there's a lot of them that I haven't seen yet, and I like to do new things, and seeing a movie I haven't seen before kind of counts for me. Also, there is the Hellraiser series, which has been highly requested of me, though I don't know if I would do that as a summer special. I know anyone who wants me to do Hellraiser, hearing those words right now, in the middle of the Summer of Seagal, certainly they don't want it to be a summer special, because that means they're going to have to wait a year for it. But that's what's going through my head, trying to figure out how and when to do things with the reviews. There's a lot of series that I'd like to tackle. The Nightmare on Elm Street series, then the Friday the 13th series have been requests, and I would like to go into those since I haven't seen all of them in depth. Of course, I've seen a couple of each, but not all of them, so that's something I'd like to see, and something I would have, I am opinionated on the ones I've seen already, but those are a bit more popular, and therefore, at my current position, it's harder for me to get the funds to actually buy all the DVDs and have it ready to review. What is your favorite video game and why? That's a hard thing to really say, because Uh, Generally, what is in my mind at any given time as my favorite changes dynamically with the gaming landscape as it is. It's hard to say this is the best of all time because the times are always changing, but a game that I feel like I can always go back to and just spend hours and hours on, with friends or alone, doesn't really matter too much to me. Something I can just sink myself into and enjoy would be Phantasy Star Online. Now that's one that definitely is a lot better with more people, but I actually do enjoy it alone almost the same. So, yeah, Phantasy Star Online I enjoyed a lot. I'm still waiting for Phantasy Star Online 2 to be released in English. It's already out in Japan. And looking at it, it looks more like Phantasy Star Universe, which I didn't really like as much. But I still hold all judgment until I actually get to play it for myself. What are some of the most overrated video games and movies, in my opinion? Now, it's easy for things to be overrated. Anyone can point to Call of Duty and say, this is way more popular than it deserves to be based on its very simple, short, linear single-player experiences, and despite the much deeper multiplayer, people can still say, well, you aim down the sights and it clicks down magnetically, so it's kind of like giving all players an aimbot, so they feel like they're much better than they actually are. Of course, in Call of Duty, everyone has that thing, so it's kind of even between the players anyway. But you can point to any majorly popular thing, and it can be good, but still overrated. It's, like Citizen Kane for movies. It's very commonly referred to as the greatest movie of all time. Now, what it did... I have not seen Citizen Kane, but I have done enough research on movies in general that of course I've heard of it, and I have learned a bit about what it did, and just it looks like it historically did quite a bit for movies, but kind of like James Rolfe himself said, it was around the same time a lot more technical accomplishments with King Kong than Citizen Kane. I think it just really was one of the biggest things that gripped people at the time. But since then, there have been movies that have done some things better, and some movies there have been plenty of movies that did things worse. But for fuck's sake, I try and set this up to be nice and calm and relaxed, and answer questions, and in the background I have a cat screaming for cock. Maybe they really do like Citizen Kane that much. Yeah, they got louder when I said it. Citizen Kane. So maybe it earned that. Maybe it really is the best of all time. Citizen Kane!
But they never even watched it.
Anyway, what are some of the most underrated? See, the problem with that is I haven't combed through everything, and I know certainly the most underrated is something that I probably wouldn't even know to bring up. There are... Fucking cat! That's so annoying! Underrated in movies, I'm kind of going to draw a blank, I think. Underrated in video games, I would have a little more knowledge on, because, that was what I spent my youth and most of my early 20s doing, was playing video games. But still... Well, anything that really gets critically just crushed oftentimes isn't nearly as bad as it's made out to be for those reasons. And for that, I mean, for movies, I can easily bring up UHF. Critically, that was just panned. It was hated when it was released, and there were few critics out there that would ever say anything good about it after the initial reaction was, this is crap. And it's a cult classic now, so it certainly was underrated. Beyond that, a lot of video games also can be absolutely detested, but still have plenty to offer. I think that, Duke Nukem Forever, obviously, that's an easy one to pick out. It was not really grand. It, of course, was not worth waiting 14 years for. Anyone could have figured that out. But the amount of hate towards it is still surprising. It's not nearly that bad. It's actually kind of average. It is an enjoyable game. It's just not fantastic. But the ideas of things are all either the absolute best or the absolute worst. Anytime anything is described as being the best ever or the worst ever, it's probably either being overrated or underrated, given which aspect you're focusing on. Because most things just fall closer to the middle. Some things are really good, some things are pretty bad, but there are still bad things in bad aspects in good media, and there is still enjoyable things to be found in underachieving art. So it's almost anything can be underrated and overrated in that, but the most underrated and overrated. Well, I should probably move on because I'm going to spend far too long on just that. Sorry. Allosaurus Rule first. What would you think of a 3-act part AVP 3 movie that wasn't a 3 parts, not like The Hobbit or something, where it's, 3 different movies? It would be one whole movie where there's 3 separate stories told in one whole movie, with one being focused on a human, then an alien, then a predator, with each of the 3 being their own star, similar to the AVP video games. Shut up and take my money! I would love to see a AVP movie that was set closer to the Aliens kind of story timeline, set either in space or on some other planet. I actually had an idea for a AVP storyline I'd like to see in a movie that I started writing out all of the little basic things for, and one of the main things that I personally think you have to have is you have to have a alien story, predator story, and human story interwoven in there. You don't necessarily have to have it separated in the large chunks where normally you would have the 3-act structure, and it's like, okay, this first is the short story about the humans, then the short story about the alien, then the short story about the predator. And you can have it all woven together into the larger picture. But one of the greatest things about the AVP games is that it allows you to see the events from the perspective of each creature. And although a lot of them focus on the human, and the aliens and predators are kind of just the extra flavor, if you feel like playing that, we program that too. It still would be very nice to see an actual fully thought out story for each species. The one and only Iron Fist. I watched your House 2 review. Have you seen House 3 and 4? You should do a review of both of those. They're pretty bad, but should be some good material for a funny review. Smiley face. I tried to find House 3 and 4. I know they exist, but I was having some severe difficulty. I know one of them, I think it's House 3. I could only find on VHS, which obviously isn't going to work for me. And the other one I could only find in PAL region. I'm relatively certain that I could still rip it just the same on my computer, but I don't really know because I've never tried a PAL region coded DVD before. So, House 3 and 4, I want to do them, but those are actually very difficult for me to acquire. And it sucks because I agree with you, just trying to research what it was. Just getting the basic synopsis, it looked like something I really wanted to see, and I probably would have a lot of good material from. But I don't really have ETA on when that will be applicable to happen, because they are not easy films to come across in the States. The Harry Gilly asks, what's your favorite John Carpenter movie? Now, while John Carpenter has done a lot of very famous and well-watched movies, I actually have not seen most of them, I'm sorry to say. Really, I haven't really sat down and watched Halloween or a lot. There was actually, I'm very sorry to say, that there's only one John Carpenter movie I think I've actually seen. And it's not one of the big famous ones, if I'm not mistaken. And that would be Prince of Darkness. And Prince of Darkness, I saw that while I was, lying in bed and unable to sleep because the TV was turned on. I know a lot of people like to sleep with the TV on because it helps them somehow, but I could be as tired as all hell, and if the TV's running, I can't sleep. And one of the things that happened to come on was Prince of Darkness, which was interesting and kind of fucked up at the same time. I liked the ending for the most part, except when they named a year. That just sounded silly to me. But it wasn't the big, happy, shiny bubblegum and lollipops, everything turned out well ending that a lot of horror movies for some reason think is a scary way to end a movie. But yeah, I actually saw that, and it was intriguing for the most part, and I would like to seek it out again just so I could, say what I think on my show about it. One other thing that I noticed on his IMDb page that said he actually worked on in the story department was Dark Star, which is another one that I actually want to look into. It's not one I've seen yet, but if you don't know, Dark Star actually is kind of... It was one of the people who worked on Dark Star would actually go on to write Alien. Dark Star, though, is not... It was not high budget. It was not even a remote attempt at making a blockbuster film. It was actually a student film that just got too big to be a student film, and as they say, it went from being the most impressive student film ever to the least impressive professional film ever. So that's one that I definitely want to track down and check out. But the only John Carpenter movie I've actually seen is Prince of Darkness, so I guess that's my favorite, maybe? T.D. Holloway asks, hey Decker, what's your favorite movie and game? For some reason, YouTube flagged that as spam. See, YouTube likes to fuck with people other than me on occasion. Now, favorites, game I already kind of covered. Movie, one thing that I've always enjoyed was actually Phantom of the Paradise, which is a 1974 musical horror. not really musical, like everyone just bursts out and starts singing for no apparent reason except for the fact that it's a musical, but it has a lot of music interwoven into it. It's kind of a modern, as in 1974, modern retelling of Phantom of the Opera. And I enjoyed it. Paul reviewed it, and he hated a lot of the music that I liked, and liked a lot of the music that I didn't. But well, everyone has their own opinions. Paul's not wrong for telling his opinion as it is, so. Let's see. What would you do for Prometheus 2? That's a question from Michael Graham. Prometheus 2. Well, the problem is Prometheus 1 is not what I would do in the first place, so I don't know how to really pick it up from there. And I got a lot of really interesting theories from other viewers about how everything on Prometheus 1 stacked up, but I myself, looking at Prometheus, I didn't see too much actually set up in a way that would make sense in any specific direction. I mean, I of course want to see what happens to the proto-xenomorph creature. I want to see where the other engineers were. I'd like to see them having made things other than people and or black goo. If they engineer life, they should engineer a lot of life, I think. So there's a lot open that could be explored. And mainly what I want from Prometheus 2 is the same thing I wanted from Prometheus, some definitive answers. Jackson Stovall says, please review Studio Ghibli's Spirited Away. I liked Spirited Away. I just don't think that it is of the genre I could really... I mean, I could review it, but it is so different than what I would normally do. I don't know how my viewers would take that. It's kind of a... Well, it's not... It's hard to actually pin it to a genre anyway. There's plenty of things that happen that would count as horror, I guess, but it's, to those who don't know, it is a well-animated, kind of whimsical adventure through an alternate reality. So, it's definitely interesting, and there are some things that happen that I still kind of scratch my head about, and some directions I'm confused, but it's not something that I think that I would really tackle on my review show. I'm sorry to say. Monster Hunter 971 asks, how much money do you spend on that awesome hair? Well, fortunately for me, it turns out it just kind of grows out of my scalp. So I've got hair to spare. But I buy shampoo and conditioner and shower. So I guess I spent a couple of cents on the water and $10 about for the shampoo and conditioner combined. I think. Not too bad. Okay, Battle and Forge asks, what do you think about The Hobbit and The Lord of the Rings and the Game of Thrones? Can't believe such an intelligent person as you is out of money. Sad face. Well, with the Hobbit, I haven't actually seen that, but I have seen that. Damn that cat. Ugh. This is getting really bad. That I saw The Hobbit when I was very, very young, and it was the animated version of the story. So, I already kind of knew the story of The Hobbit, and I am still very confused about how it can really be stretched out into a trilogy. And I haven't seen what they've done with it yet, though, so I can't really give my opinion on how well they did. Lord of the Rings, I did enjoy that, and it was the epic trilogy of its time, so... Game of Thrones, though, I'm sorry to say I haven't actually seen that. It's one of the problems is I generally don't watch TV, and that's on TV. I spent so long just playing video games, and then I started reviewing movies, and that cut into my video game playing time, and in no time at all for the last several years have I actually sat down and really watched TV. So, I have no opinion on Game of Thrones, unfortunately. And also, unfortunately, one's amount of money generally has very little to do with how intelligent one is. It can help in some situations, but especially with the jobs I had, my intelligence had no bearing in how much I got paid. I just had to come in, open the boxes, put the stuff on shelves, close the boxes, crush the boxes, get the other boxes, open the boxes, put the stuff on shelves, crush the boxes, get the other boxes, open the boxes, put the stuff on shelves. It's not exactly cerebral. Hunter Solutions. Get a P.O. box, dude, or if you have Steam, let us know and games you want. Well, you don't have to. I should be able to support my own gaming habit. I'm sure some nice guy would gift you a few games. Probably, but I should support my own habit. Also, dude, you need to do more vids that don't violate terms. Well, they're not really violating the terms, it's just they are very, very strict about their monetizations, so I am still trying to figure out whether or not they will allow me to monetize my movie reviews. I'm experimenting on that right now. I took my Predator 2 review, which is one of my most popular videos on my channel, which has actually finally been dethroned. It was it's still the most viewed, but it used to have the most views per month, and now I think the AVP review finally dethroned it, which I'm happy about because the AVP review was put together a lot better than the Predator 2 review. But I'm testing the Predator 2 review. I'm asking them to monetize that and seeing what they're going to do. And we'll see what happens, because I'd really like to be able to afford my phone bill and a sandwich. How about some walk and talks around your area, obviously complete with jokes and somewhat related to being in a shit situation in the middle of nowhere? Actually, I was thinking about doing a couple of videos like that a while ago. I just never really got around to it. It would have been a lot better if I had done it while I was still in Houston and there were places to go and things to talk about, because I could actually have a series of videos like that. Where I'm at now, there is kind of one street, and I might be able to get 2 or 3 videos out of it if I stretch it, but after that street's up, then I'm out of city. There's nothing. So, also, the history of this area, not quite as interesting as Houston, I don't think. But, oh well. As for a real question, I spent all that time answering fake questions. I'm such a fool. What is your profession before losing your job, if you don't mind me asking? I was working for Kroger, the, large grocery store chain. Before that, I was working for Redner's Warehouse Markets, which is another grocery store chain, but they're up north where Kroger is down south. And I was working overnights stocking groceries, and I was doing that at both locations, so it was about 10 years worth of overnight stock in grocery stores. I did not mind leaving that behind. Okay, Death12384 asks, your opinion on the Assassin's Creed franchise and storyline. Your thoughts, please. I actually haven't really played Assassin's Creed much. I saw my ex-roommate playing Assassin's Creed. Assassin's Creed 2. And it kind of left me confused. Because I see the guy run from the, futuristic setting. Oh, he's going through here, gotta go through here, they've gotta find this out and go through this. They're avoiding these guys, they're bad guys, and they gotta find this, but this exists in ancestral memory, so in order to get that, he's gotta jump into the big VR machine and then run around and effectively play Assassin's Creed for the rest of the game. And I'm trying to wrap my head around this. It looks interesting, and it certainly looks fun, but I am having a difficult time personally understanding what's going on in the big picture. All the little things, it's like, you gotta go here and take him out because he did it. Okay, that makes sense, but you realize, you zoom out, and that's the guy in this thing pretty much playing the game, and then there's zoom out more, and there's you sitting there looking at the guy in the thing who's playing the game that you're playing right now. It's kind of a mind fuck. He also adds, there is one thing in the Aliens Colonial Marines campaign you won't like. I'm not going to tell you, but all I know is the first thing you're going to say is, what? No, that can't be right. This is impossible. Rage! P.S. Roman candle wars are mostly fought at night. Mostly. I'll take your word for it, on both counts. Okay. Elf Runner says, can you review Weekend at Bernie's and Weekend at Bernie's 2? I haven't actually seen said films, but I'm relatively certain they fall under comedy. And now that kind of runs into two problems. Number one being it's not one of the genres I normally tackle, and two being that I would be competing with the movie for how well I deliver my jokes versus them theirs. Unless they do a really shitty job, then it's easy to review a comedy comedically. But I've never seen them, I don't know, and it's not something that I would really... part of me says, well, it's not my genre. On the other hand, they're probably just about as much horror as Evil Bong was. So, I don't know, actually. It's not something that really comes to mind first, but I guess it's not completely out of the question. Okay, why did you move if you didn't have a job where you were going? Well, I have a much nicer place where I went, and it's actually a better situation for me overall at this time. You quit your old job, or were you fired? I quit. I was in a position where I was trying to balance between doing my videos and going and working there, and I was having to spend more time on my videos, and they were cutting hours, and I was like, okay, cut my hours, please. I know I figured out that if I was working 32 hours a week, I could barely scrape by, and I was fine with that. I was intending on quitting anyway. I was just trying to make it to when I would quit, and then just say adios at the right time, and they kept screwing with me, and they, despite the fact that they were cutting everyone's hours, because I specifically asked for my hours to be cut and explained to them about making my videos, I don't know if they thought maybe if they force me to work and fuck up my videos, that'll make it so that that'll no longer be a problem for them and they can just have me come in whenever. But yeah, they kind of put me in a position where I figured I was going to either have to stop making my videos as often, or I would have to not go into work as many days as they're asking, and therefore, after losing so much time, I'd end up getting fired anyway. I put my videos above my job, considering I hated my job, so I quit. So, yay, I wasn't fired. I would have been, but I wasn't. Alrighty. Last page. Marbat23, or Marbat23, asks, what shampoo/conditioner do you use? Herbal essences for long hair. Seriously, I do. That was kind of the joke in the beginning of the Playmate of the Apes review, where me and Creepy come out of the shower, and he says, thanks for letting me use your shampoo, Decker, or borrow your shampoo, Decker. And we're standing there with the herbal essences bottles. That was actually my shampoo and conditioner. I did bring them down there. Yeah, that was him playing around with the old herbal essences commercials where at least I think they're old. I don't know if they do them anymore. I don't watch TV. But you have the women showering using herbal essences and they're moaning like they're having orgasms. But yeah, that's the shampoo I use. Herbal essences for long hair. It works, and it smells faintly of raspberries. Red Dragon Autobot 97. You said you love heavy metal, so I was curious, what do you think of the band Slipknot? This is one of the parts where I'm, again, not in the know. No. Well, I don't dislike them. I just haven't heard enough of them to really know what the hell I'm talking about. Yay. Okay, moving on. Howard Devon 08. How old are you? Currently I am 29 years old, and unfortunately I am going to hit 30 years old in a couple of weeks. I don't know what I'm going to do. Probably go insane, rip a bunny's head off, and run down the streets covered in Cheese Whiz. Either that or I'm just going to keep making videos and hope no one notices.
You go outside and kill one of the bunnies, and I'm pretty certain there's going to be a broom handle going for your head.
I thought you would be more upset about the Cheese Whiz. I'm not going to take my Cheese Whiz, I'm taking yours.
You don't even have Cheese Whiz.
Exactly. I don't have a choice. I must take yours.
I'll smash it. No, that's what you want.
Anyway, JLB Zombie asks, are you going to watch Jeepers Creepers 3 and Prometheus 2? That's my plan. I haven't heard anything about a release date on Prometheus 2, and although Jeepers Creepers 3, when I had done Jeepers Creepers 2, the research I did said that it was slated for a 2003 release, not 2003, 2013 release, it hasn't really shown up anywhere. It doesn't look like it's going to actually make it 2013. There's not much news at all about Jeepers Creepers 3. So I don't know. It's kind of funny for that soon of a date to be pinned, and it just seems like it didn't materialize. I mean, a video game can be worked on for a while and then just poof. But a movie, usually when it's filming, especially something as high profile as Jeepers Creepers 3, usually there is something to show for it. If from when I read it, that they were working on Jeepers Creepers 3 and it was going to be released 2013, at the time I was reading it, they should have been working on it already. So just to see no update on that is kind of disheartening, honestly. I mean, I don't know whether or not it would be any good, but it's at least something that I would have wanted to see, good or bad. Just a Jeepers Creepers 3? Yes, I would watch that. Okay. The ACDC Madman Is your girlfriend in any of your videos?
Who do you think was walking up and down stairs?
Just a friend who is a girl.
And the one tossing pillows. I missed.
Tyler Reckhoff says, if you don't have money, why don't you just torrent the videos to review? Or torrent videos to review. Because that's technically illegal. I mean, honestly, you give the studio as much money for torrenting the movie as you do for buying it used, but buying it used is still legal right now. And I know everyone knows it's illegal, and practically everyone does it anyway, but the penalties that the government has imposed for, downloading files are so insane. There are people who have been fined for several $1 million for downloading one album, because each song on the album they counted as a different event, and they fined the maximum amount for each of them, and the maximum amount is $250,000. So, album of 14 songs, that's several $1 million some poor bastard is fined, and yeah. So, why don't I just torrent the videos? I'm afraid of our psycho-ass government. So, yeah. I don't agree with these rules, but holy fuck. Another question from him. Have you considered selling your hair, blood, and semen to buy yourself a sandwich? On the face, that kind of looks like a good idea, as I certainly would get money for all of that, except for the fact that the amount I would lose from specifically the blood, I don't know if the sandwich would really make up for that in the amount of calories expended to get the blood back in my system versus the amount of calories I get from the sandwich. And the hair, of course, it's kind of a thing I bring up at the beginning of every single one of my videos, so really should not start chopping it off anytime soon. Bundles of Crack 22 asks, what is your favorite Jet Li film, and what is your favorite Pixar movie? Damn. Coming up empty again. I really need to watch more movies. I don't know if I've seen a Jet Li film yet. I started doing reviews because I was opinionated, not necessarily because I was a guru and have done all that there is to do in watching movies, and now I have something to say. I'm the kind of guy that as soon as I watch something, I have something to say about it. So I'm coming across a lot of these things, and I don't have an answer really because I haven't seen them. And favorite Pixar movie, I haven't seen all of the Pixar movies. I did enjoy the original Toy Story, but the previews for Toy Story 2 never really jumped out at me, and they just kind of confused me with the introduction of the female cowgirl thing, that it just kind of looked to me like they forgot all about the relationship between Woody and Bo Peep. But maybe I'm thinking too much about toy reproduction at this point. Okay. Finally, from a long-haired creepy guy, how big is your penis? Using the US measurement system. First of all, that's the imperial measurement system. It's not only done in the States. And finally, what?